Hey, everybody, it's Rick and
Pete.
He forgot his name there for a sec. And this is Life After Habs. We're after the game tonight. Toronto, Montreal was in Toronto, take on the Leafs after their big trade last night, and it wasn't a great game for Montreal. Yeah, we're here after that. We can talk about that. We're going to talk about the game a little bit. We're going to talk about various things. Matt's going to join us soon. We're going to have our What Irks Me segment. We're going to have two of them, one from me, one from Matt. And we're going to talk about, I think we're going to talk about this Diamond Sports Group going bankrupt. Is going to affect the cap going up over the next few years. So that's what's on my radar. We might get into a couple of other things. I know there's a bunch of things Pete would like to talk about as well. And I don't know about Matt, but since he didn't show up yet, he doesn't get much say. And then you guys in the chat are going to also have a say. And my nose is all blocked up because we're on the air. And we're just going to go with that. And we're going to have a lot of fun. And it's a little disappointing that the Canadiens didn't, they played half the game pretty good. And I think it was halfway through the second, I don't know, the wheels dropped off or something. And in the third, they almost looked at points disinterested in
It was that second goal, right?
Hey?
It was that second goal. It completely took their confidence away.
I mean, but why? I mean, why would that... that hasn't really happened much to them. So I'm just wondering, why that happened. It's kind of weird. But it was obvious that third period, for sure, they were just they looked disinterested. And I was so that made it a bit disappointing in the long run. So we can talk about that. Whatever you guys in the chat want to talk about, whatever Pete wants to talk about, let's use here, and we'll go from there. We got Randy N. Hey, Randy. I don't know why I put the N and I never say that anymore. But thank you that's from my poem comment there. Habs Guru, welcome back. All three shows. Go Habs Go. Stan the Man, welcome back in. And Matt says he'll be there shortly. Dude's waiting on my laptop to finish an update. Shouldn't be much longer. That's what's taking him so long.
You should tell him to get a MacBook. To hell with the PC laptop.
Tell him to get a laptop that works is what you mean. I think that's really what you mean.
I did.
All right, so Matt will be joining us really soon. I mean, I don't know. This was I was disappointed in that that the halfway through the game, it's like it was a good game up to them. Up till then, they were competing, and then I don't know, the compete went away. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that we've got so many rookies that they just kind of drifted off, and like you say, the compete went away. You got to remember. We all have to remember these young kids. It's long now for them. It's a long season. Their season's almost done. Usually.
It's true. They're not used to as many games and as many how do I want to put that? Important, not important, but competitive, highly competitive games. It's always, it's a step up. So the young kids in defense, especially, right, where most of them are.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're not used to, I think, as many games, as many weekday games as well.
That as well, right?
Yeah.
Their energy levels. They're young kids.
Yeah, I think it's typical for young guys in the first couple of seasons where they can hit a wall a bit, Yeah. I don't know if that's the answer to what went wrong, but it seemed like halfway through the game they hit a wall as a team.
It's unfortunate, and it's kind of a good thing in a way, because these kids are getting some valuable experience, and this is great learning. They'll learn to take care of their bodies better now. They'll learn that, hey, this is an 82-game season. I have to have myself in the game mentally, physically.
Yeah, no, it's something they do learn in their first season, definitely.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm sure we'll see better output from some of these kids next season.
BL makes a good comment there about the young defensemen really showed their age tonight. Baron Kowalski. I mean, that's that's Scheiderman. It was his first game this season in the NHL, so kind of maybe understandable that. But yeah, I think you're right on that. They showed their inexperience tonight, caught up to them a little bit. They need to get stronger. They can all skate. Yeah, well, that's over time. Listen, how many teams have 4 or 5 rookie defenders in their lineup? Not very often, right? You don't see that very often. And,
Nope.
Considering the way they played all year, I think they've done well. So, let's see. I want to find another comment. With all the injuries, do you think it prevented Hughes from making a trade or two? That was brought up in the game. I don't know. I don't know. It could have, because I was thinking about it earlier in the day. It was brought up in the pregame show. I forget who it was. Might have been Biella brought that up, but I was thinking about that today. That that might hamper them a little bit because of
It
having bodies
handcuffs.
around.
It handcuffs them in a way. I mean,
It was you and I were talking. Was it you and I
we were
in the
talking
chat
about it as well.
when we were texting this morning? Was that
Yeah.
when we were talking about that?
Could have
But
been.
yeah,
Check.
it could. I also think the story about the Diamond Sports them going bankrupt, I think that might have a little effect on the trade deadline because of the uncertainty of it. They don't know what's going to happen. Some teams apparently they're going to keep going. By the way, I'll just tell you what the story is, just so Diamond Sports is the parent company to Bally Sports, and if you see in my previews or pregame shows, I always show that where the away team or the opponent, if you're in that area, it's on this network. It's usually in the States, it's Bally Sports. So they defaulted on a $140 million debt payment and are expected to file for bankruptcy. Now, this apparently isn't going to mean that they're not going to work with the teams and still, it's going to be a different thing, right? Some teams are going to get less money than they thought they're going to get. Some teams are still going to get the same amount of money, but there's going to be less money into the NHL's coffers, which means that the cap is probably not going to go up very much or as much as we thought over the next few years. So it's a big thing, and I don't know how it's going to affect teams starting this trade deadline now that this has come out. If we're going to see it, less signings or less trades or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm presenting that very well, but I didn't really want to get there yet. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure Matt will have a few words to say on that. I personally,
I don't know if a lot of people have heard about it yet. It's just starting to get out. I caught on to this story, I believe, the last game, so 2 days ago. I found it somewhere, and it's like, okay, I'm going to follow this, and now I'm starting to see it in the next 2 days later. Now you're seeing it on Twitter, and you're seeing people talking about it. So yeah. So it's something that's it's going to affect the salary cap, which is that's going to affect teams' ability to sign contracts and make trades.
It will, but at the end of the day, teams are hurting, are still going to try to make a push. Like Toronto, for instance, I don't think they're done yet. I think they're still.
They can't be done. They can't. And why I say that though, because
a goaltender.
They have made a swing for the fences for a cup this year, I think, with that trade. So I think they got $4.4 million still to spend. I think they're not done.
They need a tendy.
Yeah,
they can get themselves a tendy. They're looking pretty good.
Well, Samsonov might be able to carry them through, but they need a better defense then. So I think it's either a goalie or I think if Matt Murray is back February 28th, I don't think they're signing a goalie. I think they're going to look at it, bringing in some defense. I would think. But I don't really care because I hope they don't do that and they don't make it past the first round of the playoffs because that would be nice. But I do think that this trade, we'll go to this trade. And you guys can say in the chat what you guys think. Yeah, I tend to think that this could get them a first round win, depending who they play.
Yeah, that all depends on who they play. I mean,
You know,
um,
it's looking like Tampa though, because their Leafs are right now, although it's really tight in there between Tampa and the Leafs for second and third. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if they flip flop; they're going to play each other. So it looks like it's going to be Tampa.
I think Tampa will silly.
You broke up there. I think you just froze. I didn't hear the end of that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think Tampa will slap them silly in the playoffs. There'll be some good competition for the first couple of games, and then Tampa will just take over. And Vasilevsky, once he gets heated up,
I mean, that's what happened last time. But maybe, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Even that, I think though that this trade helps them, have a better chance at least in the first anyway.
For sure. For sure.
I think they'll give us a scare anyway. They'll give us a scare like, oh, are they going to win? And then they won't. But no, I actually think that this, it's a trade that could get them past the first round, but I don't think past that.
No,
he's not getting them a cup. I really don't see this being that they're good enough for a cup yet. So I don't know.
Fingers crossed that they don't get the cup.
It's weird. I was all looking forward to this. One of the reasons why we're doing this, the post-game show so soon after the last one, is because it's Toronto, and I think both of us were pretty. I think we were both hoping that, like, strongly that they're going to win this game, and almost even assuming that they're probably going to win this game, or to be a lot closer. And this is kind of a letdown for this goddamn thing.
It is.
So
it is.
I don't know how much we're going to talk about the Leafs. I feel weird talking about. I don't want to be talking up the Leafs.
No, I'm so
too bad
that we lost to them tonight. It's painful.
It's too bad. Unfortunately, though, we got to talk about them past the what irks me, because my what irks me is about Toronto. So, okay, what do I got prepared here? Well, let's talk about the trade deadline. We're 2 weeks away, so we were just saying, do you think are their hands tied because of all the injuries? I'd like to know from you guys out there what you guys think Montreal might do here in the at the trade deadline. I personally think that if teams are going to be not wanting to knock on the door for, say, Dadonov, Hoffman, or whatever, I just think that makes Anderson more valuable. And I think Monahan and Anderson are going to get some action, interest from other teams. Monahan, I think for sure, he's probably the best center that's left in the, at the trade deadline. I think that that's going to make some increased interest, and I can't see Montreal sitting on holding Monahan if there's a good offer of a first round pick plus.
Yeah, and there's going to be some good. I predict some good trades or not trades, but offers to come up, and it all depends on what management wants to do. In retrospect, listening to what Sportsnet had to say there earlier, how they figured Montreal is going to be quiet.
Sorry, Ray.
On the one hand, I'm thinking, what are you idiots talking about? But then, if you just stop and think about it for a minute, maybe they do stay somewhat quiet, because what are you going to put on the ice next year?
No, I don't think it's for that reason. I kind of think it's like this. In my opinion, I mean, you may be right, but in my opinion, it's in my eyes, it's like this. There's a shortage of bodies around, right? So I don't think that they feel, depending on the offers coming for these guys, if the offers are like nothing, if you're talking about a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick, it probably behooves them to keep the guy for the rest of the year because they don't have the bodies, too many injuries. If they get the right offers, I think they'll figure it out. They'll make the deals and they'll figure it out. But I don't know what deals will come their way. And we won't know what the offers are because we never hear that shit. We only hear what the trades are. So there may be nothing happening, but they might have got a ton of offers. It just wasn't what they wanted, And yeah. I don't think they're in a position where they have to make a trade just to make a trade.
And I don't think they're going to make a trade just to make a trade.
They may want that first round pick, yes, and all that, but I don't know that they have to go out of their way to lower their price on, say, Anderson to get a first round pick. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they're thinking, but I don't think so.
A lot of us forget that these NHL execs that make the swings for these deals and whatnot, we think of the here and now, but a lot of these execs, they're thinking of what the player did in the past as well. And when we had a healthy team, Ando was scoring big time. And when we had a healthy team, Monahan started out the season wonderful. Like the guy was like, "Whoa, where did this come from?" I remember saying that, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these teams that are going to be looking for players are going to be thinking, "Hey, you know, like their asking price is steep right now. Maybe when it comes closer to deadline, the price will drop." The price is only going to stay the same, if not attract more, because now you can stand your ground and say, look, I don't have to get rid of this guy, right? I can keep him. I'm not
well, they don't have to, no.
Exactly. But a lot of these execs are going to be like, we need this player. He's the one that's going to put us over the top. So I honestly think the value of Monahan, Anderson, a few others, even Edmondson, who's injured, the value is going to increase a bit.
I don't think a guy that's injured is going to get moved personally. I think Monahan
all depends on what they disclose to the other team on the injury for, say, Edmondson, right? Like they're not going to tell the whole general public, but if, say, you know, Edmonton called up and said, "Hey, what exactly is wrong with him? Is he?"
But I'm sure that's already like if you're thinking I'd like to get Edmondson, right? But you know he's on the injury, you're going to call them up and go like, you're going to find that out. So,
yeah,
you know, but I don't see, look how long it took him 2 years in a row to get over that back injury. If I'm a team, I don't know. If he's not out there playing, I don't think I'm making a move for him. Where Monahan, I was just thinking of this. Monahan only played 25 games this year, but look at what Ryan O'Reilly just got. Now, okay, granted, it's Acciari and O'Reilly, and I get that it's two guys, but look what those two guys got. And you can compare O'Reilly and Monahan very easily. O'Reilly only played 40 games. He was also injured. He just happened to come back earlier, right? But if you're looking at it from team's point of view, you can compare that very easily. As long as Monahan's back out playing before the deadline and he's got, 4 or 5 games under his belt, I think he's going to get good offers because he's the best C that's out there. You know that he's a top 6 guy. You know he can produce. I think a team will take a chance on him. So, the injury part, I think so. Plus, I think if it's the right team, they'd feel that they could re-sign him for next year as well. There's no commitment, but if you want one, that's a good player, So I don't know if I'm making any sense. I might not be, but I think the O'Reilly deal, it's O'Reilly and Monahan compare well. As a matter of fact, Monahan's just one last thing. His analytics, all those stats were better than O'Reilly's.
Yep. And BL Duff agrees. Monahan's value will be more at the deadline than at the draft.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I agree with that. At the deadline for sure. Why? Because first of all, you can't deal him at the draft.
Exactly.
Why? Season's over. He's not your property anymore. So there's no dealing him at the draft, right? He walks away. I think, or they have that. His negotiating rights you give. You're not going to get a ton for that anyway.
No.
So yeah, it's at the deadline for sure. The thing is, he's got to play a couple of games, but if he does, I think his value is high. So I don't know.
He's up and moving, so hopefully we'll see him soon. He
may be the only guy you can actually trade other than Anderson at the deadline in the long run, right?
Well, don't forget. I mean, not that I want to see him go, but I think some desperate teams that are looking for a good stay-at-home defenseman that has a little bit of upside to him. Savard might be looking pretty tasty.
I don't think they're going to move Savard.
If you got the right offer,
You know
why
what?
wouldn't
I
you?
still, I don't think so. I think, and you know what? I got to say this too, and I know how we've come down on Savard over the last couple of years.
Oh yeah,
A lot. My respect for his game has gone up. I've seen him make some really good plays, some good I'm starting to see some of the stuff that you're hearing the coaches or the other players when they talk about Savard say, where I used to go like what are they seeing? I don't see that. I'm starting to see it. Yeah, I don't think they're going to move him. I think him and Matheson. Those are the two veterans, because you got to have more than just Matheson as a veteran player here on defense going forward. You got to, and I don't, now they might have to keep Eddie. That might be true, but if they can move Eddie, I think they keep Savard. Maybe if they can't move Eddie and it works out, they'll move him. But I think they like Savard a lot. And what was I hearing? St. Louis talking about Savard, who he was playing with, and he's saying he does a lot of coaching on the bench with his partner. Like, I think they like him a lot, and I think he's going to stick around.
he's a good defensive leader.
He's a leader. He's a good leader, and he's I mean, he'll probably end up in coaching after his career, and I think they like that aspect of him. Yeah, I think you'd have to knock their socks off. Who's going to knock their socks off with an offer for Savard?
Oh no.
Like, I don't think that'll happen, right? So I don't think they're going to move him. That's kind of, I guess that's what I'm saying. Do I know what I'm saying? I don't know if I know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
hey. No, this is not right.
Pretty boy.
This is not right here.
To join us.
I got to be on the bottom. I'm a bottom. Did I want to say that? I don't know that I wanted to say that.
I don't know.
You like it on the bottom.
I like it at the bottom. Oh, on the bottom. No, sorry.
What do you mean, Rick? It's right. We're accepting people.
Okay, I wanted to say I listened to about 3 seconds of your. So it's interesting that because I did a What Irks Me in case you weren't going to be able to make it, but I'm going to play mine first because yours goes naturally right behind mine.
Oh, because it's a bottom.
Yeah, this time you're on the bottom. Or does that still make me on the bottom? If I go first, it might still make me on the bottom. I don't know.
There you go.
I'm not ashamed to say. The only thing is, I don't know that you guys are going to really want that picture in your head. So let's get to.
Yeah, but
I got itchy nose.
I'm the captain.
Nice. All right. We're going to actually get into the What Irks Me. So I'm going to do mine first because, and you'll see after they're both played why I did mine first. It's not because I have a big ego and all that. I mean, it's partially, but it's not really. I have to do this a different way because I couldn't load mine. It was too big. That's what she said last night. And that is true. Oh, boy. Okay. So this is mine.
What irks me? You know what really grinds my gears?
Great Boston accent. Hey, everybody. This is what irks me today. The Leafs trade pisses me off. They acquired Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Acciari from St. Louis for a couple of role players and a handful of draft picks. What pisses me off is that this probably means the Leafs will win a round or two. You gotta concede that they're probably going to win a round or two in this season's playoffs, and that'll absolutely give Leafs fans hope. And the bad Leafs fans, they'll be impossible to deal with on social media and in my live stream chats. They'll come in and they'll boast of how good they are and how shitty we are. I'm also irked by the fucking jolt I got when I saw the news of the trade. I mean, who wants to see the Leafs win a round, right? But there's a silver lining, I think, in all this. And that is that they screwed their future even more by trading away so many picks, especially the 2023 first-round pick that they gave up in a very deep draft for a team that needs to fill their prospect pool. Once the Leafs window closes, it's going to take a long time to fill their pipeline with real talent, quality players. So combine that with Matthews not re-signing, because I don't believe he'll re-sign, and the Leafs will be bottom dwellers for a long time. So that's the silver lining, and we can sort of lord that over them for a while. It's sad for the fans, and I do feel for the fans. It's like they're taking this shot. If they don't win this season, though, what happens, right? O'Reilly's a UFA at the end of the year, so he's basically a rental. And I believe Matthews will leave at the end of his contract, and their window closes. And if they don't win this season, so I don't believe they'll win the Cup even with this trade. So it's sad for the fans, but happy for me, and I think for most Habs fans. I mean, in the end, right? But it still irks me, that they're able to go somehow and make this trade. It's like magic. I don't know how they find the magic to do it. And they're probably going to win a round, and I'm not very happy with that. But sometimes what irks you can turn into what makes you happy. So we'll see how it works out. If they win the Cup, I'm not going to be very happy. I really am not. I don't believe this is enough for them to win the Cup. But trade still irks me. What irks you? Let me know, or let us know here in the chat. Let us know how you feel about this. Anyways, thanks for hearing me out. There you go. Let me take that out of there. You can talk. There you go. So that's what irks me. You know what, though? I think before we start about that, Matt's is so close behind me, we're going to play his next. I didn't hear it all. I just heard the beginning, but I think it goes right after mine, and then we'll talk about it. That
We're
makes
going to work
sense,
on your
Matt?
Boston accent, though.
Oh, I have a horrible one. I got to get you to read it next time. Okay, let me just find his. Here we go. Whoop, double click, Rick.
What's up, everybody? Matt here. You know what really irks me? And then, not that I have really anything against the Wild, but the fact that they helped the Toronto Maple Leafs acquire Ryan O'Reilly. Why help the Leafs? No one likes the Leafs. Boo. That's what irks me.
Well, that was shorter than I thought. But you see how those two goes together, though? Don't they made a perfect match? And I agree with you on yours, Matt, as well. I kind of, when I saw that, I'm going, first of all, what did they get for that? They got a fourth round pick. You in 3 years or 2 years, you're gonna be fucking assholes and help the Leafs. Yeah.
Exactly.
Son of a bitches.
Oh my God.
Pete, what do you think? And then we'll look at the what everybody in the chat thinks.
It's too cute. You guys are too funny. Too bloody funny.
Your turn is next. You got to do one next. I mean,
I'll do something.
Just bug it.
But
what do you think of what we said?
I like Matt's point of view. I love your point of view as well. But Matt, why in the hell did Minnesota do that? Like, what gain did you get? Like, come on, give your head a shake. You help somebody out.
A fourth round
There's gotta
pick.
be some backdoor dealing,
It's a fourth round pick. Is that worth it? A fourth round pick. It's not like they got something big. I mean, if it was a first round pick they were giving, I would understand 100%. But for a fourth round pick, you're going to help the Leafs?
Can I say something?
Yeah,
this morning you and I were texting.
Yeah.
And I was quite down. I'm not going to lie. I was quite down when I heard the news and whatnot. Why are we talking about the Leafs on a Habs show?
Well, because we just played them. That was the idea of the post-game show, was that we just played the Leafs. I kind of thought of that when I'm listening to my what irks me, and I realized I got off track. I go, like, what am I doing here? It's a Habs show. And I realized the same thing you just said, but I didn't want to say anything. But you did, so.
Well,
thank God for my moral conscience over there.
Like I said to you earlier, my hatred towards the to the Leafs runs deep. They're done.
So does mine.
Let's move on. Let's talk about more.
Just to say, what I was saying about the Leafs and that analyzing that thing, that's for the fans. I mean, I do have sympathy, even though some of them are really shitty people. I have sympathy for Leafs fans because they're put through this shit every year. I think they just got a fake sense of hope that if you look at the game, how we handled them, at least for half the game, I would be worried if I'm them that
But
this
they're
might not
Leafs
work out. That's all. So
they're Leafs fans. So who really gives a shit?
no,
about them?
that's not they're people, and I'm a little irked that on their behalf that they got to go through this shit because I don't know. I think I would have to find a new team if my team did to me what that team does to their fans. I would have to find a new team. And I've been through some shit here as a Habs fan, and I've never once pondered finding a new team, but I would have to if I was a Leafs fan.
Mhm.
All right, let's guys pick out some comments in the chat. Let's see.
I do want to say too, Kyle Shanahan must suck a really good dick to get another team to basically say, "Hey, we want to get really good, so eat some money."
You know what? That's a fair comment because a 4th round pick, they held $1,875,000. I mean, it's not okay. It's really actually not a lot of money. When you think about it, what are they really holding, though? Not a lot of money, but still, fuck you for doing it.
Yeah.
BL, add the Minnesota Wild to my shit list for right now. There you go. Let's see what everybody's saying. Let's get to. Well, we were talking about that. Let's go back to. We haven't addressed this with the chat at all. So they're back at with the Monahan thing. So Guru says. No. BL.
Oh, did I? If I said Shanahan, I meant to say Dubas.
No, both of them. I think both of them paid a price if here. Anyway, Monahan's value would be more at the deadline than I think I read that. Okay, forget about those. Anthony says, "Hey Rick, I just came back from throwing up after watching Leaf fans brag about them beating the Laval Rockets on social media. Don't be sick of. I mean, you have to expect that. It's what I said in my what irks me. There you go. That proves my what irks me was right because they're doing it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
This is why we dislike the Leaf fans.
Hey Bob, I'm not fast enough for that thing there. So, but hey, welcome back in. Matt Outdoor. Hey, it's been a while. We know in your heart you like Leafs. Yeah, that could get you thrown off this channel. You know that. In a couple of years, the Habs will be on top and the Leafs will be at the bottom. Well, was my point about they threw their future away over the last. Excuse me, I'm spitting on myself. Would you guys agree over the last like 3-4 seasons, Dubas, to keep his team in the mix at all, has had to mortgage the future with throwing first-round picks left and right, and this one. And if you go on Cap Friendly, look at their picks they got left. They're down to not very many. You know, so
they've mortgaged the house.
They have double mortgaged it and triple mortgaged it,
and basically they're screwed. I mean, if they don't win a cup this year, you know, like you said, Matthews is walking.
Yeah.
That team is going to go south real fast.
Hell,
real
Nylander
bad.
might
But now,
walk.
Look
Ryan
at
O'Reilly's a rental. I doubt he resigns.
There's some talk. I think it was Engels or LeBrun. There was some talk. Him saying that he thinks there might be some interest in him signing. I don't know. I kind of agree with you though. But I had a point, and I think it's gone. Shit. Here I got sidetracked. So I'm a bit high, so you guys realize that, right? Okay. I had a good point too. Damn it, it's totally gone out of my head. Let's go on then. Oh, it was at the bottom. Okay, here. Even if they win a cup this year, it's because Dubas wanted to keep his job. But even if they win a cup this year, they're screwed down the road. It doesn't change anything. So they kind of better win a cup or they got nothing to show for any of it.
Oh, if they get bounced in the first round again,
I'm sorry, even if they lose the cup in the finals, it's still Dubas should be fired because he threw everything into the fire, and we're going to win this year. And then even if they do, they're screwed down the road. Although Matthews might stay, O'Reilly might resign if they win a cup. I mean, I don't know. Can they afford him resigning?
How are they going to afford that? They can't.
Yeah, how are they going to afford O'Reilly to resign him? That's what I don't.
How are they going to afford Matthews? Because isn't Matthews wanting 15 a year?
That's what I hear, 15. So
yeah, they can't afford that.
Now, listen, Adam's here laughing at us. Yes, it's Talking Leafs. This is our therapy.
Rick.
Listen, we're talking Leafs because we played you guys tonight. So I'm sorry, but it makes sense.
If the Leafs get bounced in the first round again, the heads have to roll. Right? Like you'd think so.
Yeah.
Heads have to roll if they get bounced in the first round again.
Anyways, we're talking because we have such love and care for you, Adam, as our Leaf representative, that we're concerned for you. That's why we're talking about this stuff.
And we're trying to
anybody
make room
buying
for you,
that,
Adam, to come join us because you're going to be leaving the Leafs after this year.
It is for me, it's therapy. I mean, I hate the Leafs so much that I like talking about this stuff when we get screwed over in a game. And I don't mean that they screwed us over, but you guys beat us. That is therapy. We got to talk shit about you guys. And listen, don't say it doesn't happen the other way around. All right. Do we want to add any more? I didn't really take a lot of questions here.
Well, the Leafs didn't really beat the Habs. They beat the Laval Rocket.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, at least they did it handily. Listen, it would have been, if it was a 2-1 win, you could kind of say something. I think they beat us 5-1. They beat us the way they should have. I mean, so you can't really, you got to give credit where credit is due. If it was a 2-1 win or closer than that, I would say what you're saying, but they beat us handily. And if they're saying they played an AHL team, well, they should have beat them handily. And they did. So we really can't use that. At least I'm honest about shit. Hey, Kevin, how you doing, man? Still had Habs jerseys on. What, you wearing a Habs jersey? Yes, Adam, I am. Okay.
Rick is high
I admitted it. I said it earlier. So, and I was when I made my What Irks Me. And if you couldn't tell that, well, I think I made that at midnight last night. So, no, it was after 1. That was at about 1:15 in the morning when I made that. All right. We're getting away from things. I'm missing some comments. No, let's get on to the next subject then. Problem is, most of my page has Leafs on it. That's the problem. That's not a good thing. Shit. Most of what I got here is Leaf shit. You guys want to talk about the possibility about that bankruptcy affecting the cap? Have you heard about this, Matt?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat it because I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to talk about this again because we should talk about this. And then I know Pete's got a bunch of things. We're going to go through Pete's list.
Oh, I just want to get the people involved. That's all I really want to do.
No, I know that. I'm not doing a good job at getting them involved tonight. I don't know.
You're ranting and raving.
That's it. So Diamond Sports Group. They are the parent group of Bally Sports in the States. And you see a lot of times our opponent is an American team in their region. It's on Bally Sports, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So there's 12 NHL teams and a total of 40 professional between football, baseball, basketball teams in the U.S. that they have TV contracts with, right? So some of that money goes to the NHL. Some of that goes to the teams individually. They are going to be filing for bankruptcy. It doesn't mean that they're going to
I did hear something about that now that you mentioned it.
It doesn't mean they're going to stop. Like I just found this out today. It's not going to stop doing the broadcasts. They're going to just pay out differently. Some teams will get the money they were expected, and a team like Arizona Coyotes, who's not a popular team and all that, they're going to get less. The NHL is going to get less. This is going to, and we're talking in the millions. It's not just peanuts. it's going to affect the cap at some point and keep it
Mhm.
down. Won't go up as much and all that. So this is coming up in the future. This is going to affect at the trade deadline. This is definitely going to affect at the trade deadline. And so I do have a page like kind of bookmarked. I'll go and read. I'll go open it up and we'll maybe take a look at what's in there. But I want to know what you guys think about that, and you guys here with me. I forgot your names. I'm sorry. It's written right there, but I forgot your names. Go ahead, guys. I'm trying to give some energy here. Pete's looking at me stunned, almost like, what?
I'm not
I don't believe
stunned.
what I'm seeing happening with Richard here. I don't know what's going on.
I'm far from stunned. I'm just we've dissected this a little bit already. Love to get what Matt's perspective is on it, if he's got a perspective. I'm just reading some of the comments that are being made. BL Duff cracks me up all the time. Peter and Matt, please help Rick out. He took tomorrow's mushrooms today, I think.
No, tomorrow's not a mushroom day, so I only took today's. It's been a long day. I've been at this since freaking 8 this morning, so that's my only excuse.
I was just looking on Twitter while you were talking there, and Grant McCagg says, I believe that I have come up with an apt nickname for the Dvorak, Armia, and Drouin trio, the trade deadline. I kind of like it.
I like that.
I kind of like that.
I don't agree about the Dvorak. Who's going to pick? I mean, who's going to trade for him?
Nobody. The guy that no.
And Armia, who's going to come on? If Armia was on the last year of his contract, maybe you get a 7th round pick back for him. If that,
too much money to be spent on a guy that just shows up for the playoffs. That's the only place that Armia has value.
Oh no, on the PK.
Yeah,
he's good on the PK.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, he's great on the PK as well.
Are you paying $33.4 million for a guy that's a defensive specialist? You're not. That's the problem. And he's got term left, 1 more year, I think. 1 or 2. I'm not even sure if it's 1 or 2. No, we're stuck with Armia, I fear. BL, are you imitating me? Because that's accurate. It's accurate. And excuse me, Pete can confirm that because we were talking this morning and I pretty much said that. Didn't I, Pete?
Yep.
So stop giving away my secrets.
Should bring BL on here one night.
Let's see. Rick, you said it yourself. You got to give credit where credit is due. So why are we giving the Leafs credit? Where credit is due. I only give where credit is due. Even to the Leafs. Listen, if I think the Leafs, I'll even say Austin Matthews got talent. I hate the guy, but he's got talent. No heart. Okay, you guys are like really quiet there.
Well,
it would help if you'd talk, and then I wouldn't make such a freaking fool out of myself.
Talking all the time.
But if you guys would talk, I would stop, and I know when to stop because if you tell me to stop, I'll stop talking right away without hesitation. I'll just
come on, Matt, get in there, buddy. Start yapping. With your beautiful little Boston.
Somebody, please start talking.
Okay, Matt's not going to talk.
Okay.
I like Born to be a Hab. He's like, put a team in Quebec.
I was just about to read
the
that.
NHL would make more money instead of losing teams in Phoenix. And I agree.
I agree with that one, but that'll never happen.
I love it.
Won't happen.
And while we're
Brendan O'Deek's back, that'd be awesome.
That's one of my quick questions that I have for all of you out there. Why trade Chychrun only to draft Bedard? Quite possibly, that makes no sense to me. I mean, I got a funny feeling that Bedard's going to end up in Phoenix. I'm sure a lot of other people do as well.
In where?
In Phoenix.
But I don't know about that. Phoenix is not at the bottom of the league. I mean, listen, I don't know if they're going to finish on the bottom. I dare say he's going to end up in Columbus.
You in Columbus, eh?
I don't have this feeling he's going to end up in Columbus.
Mhm.
I don't want that. He wouldn't want that.
Yeah, but Bettman does.
Maybe he could pull a Lindros and say, no, I'm not going.
No, because I personally lost a lot of respect for Lindros for doing that. And I'll tell you the truth, Mario Lemieux too, at the beginning of his career, he did the same thing. Not as badly as Lindros, but I mean, he stood up and he wouldn't go put the sweater on and all that. And he got a lot of flack for that, doing that. So no, I don't suggest that. And you know what? I think I've heard Bedard say he's happy to go wherever he goes. He's got the right attitude.
Yeah, I've heard him say that as well.
He's got the right attitude. Inside, he's saying, I don't want to go to Arizona, sure. But he won't say that.
But getting back to our board to be a Habs comment there, I believe that Bettman does not want two teams in Quebec.
I don't think he wants anything for Canada.
Wants Montreal in Quebec.
I don't think he wants Canada in the fucking league.
Well, there's that, but I didn't.
Honestly, I'm starting to believe that they don't want Canada to be part of the NHL.
I didn't want to go that far, but
I don't know.
I kind of feel the same way. He's got to go. He's ruined this game.
Yeah,
he's ruined this league.
Yeah, and he's a little too old. I think he's a little too old, and it's not for ageism. I mean, I'm 60, so I'm not talking him down for that. But I think at this point, he's lost touch with everything. I don't think he makes great decisions anymore, and he definitely has a bias against Canada. And I think it's time for him to step down.
For sure.
I don't know who would replace him, though. I mean, if you're going to ask me, like, who would, I have no idea. But I think anybody but him. As long as it's not the people at DOPS. As long as it's not the people at DOPS.
Careful what you ask.
The dopes at DOPS.
The dopes at DOPS.
Yeah, Anthony, I agree. I would like Bedard anywhere but Columbus as well.
Although, more than likely, if he goes to Columbus, by the time he's finished his ELC, they'll have to trade him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But listen, I would like to not see him go to Chicago either. Chicago's the other, maybe Anaheim. I'm okay with Anaheim.
Oh.
I don't have anything against Anaheim, so maybe that's just me.
Him in Anaheim with the what's that kid's name? Trevor Zegras? Oh my!
Yeah, God. People don't like Zegras, do they? I don't know why. Why is that people don't like? I must have missed it. I don't know, but I saw that there's a lot of anger at Zegras. Do you know why?
I did. Oh. I don't know, and I will probably never know exactly what he said, but there was
He said something that pissed off the woke crowd, is what I take it. And I don't know that makes me mad at him.
It was that I saw he got into he would have got killed if the ref didn't step in. But there was a game. It was before the All-Star break. I can't remember who the Ducks were playing, but he was chirping with another player, and he said something about the other player's father who had recently passed away or something.
Oh, I think you're right. Okay,
really
I don't. Yeah, okay. I don't go for that. Now that makes me think of something. I don't know if that's
exactly what was said.
No, I think you're right.
Know what was said,
I think
you're
right.
Kind of the impression I got.
It was something like that because I remember now the story. That makes me think of something. I think this came out yesterday. Mark Crawford is coaching. I don't know if it's university somewhere he's coaching. There's something happened on the ice, and the ref, he didn't like the call. He called the ref. Okay, everybody, if you have kids out there, which you shouldn't at this time, close your ears. He called the ref a cocksucker. And then he is getting hit on for being homophobic. Is that a homophobic slur?
No.
No. Since when is that word a homophobic slur? I want to know. And why is Mark Crawford being accused of being homophobic? Because he called a male ref that word. Is something wrong with society? That should be my what irks me. That should have been it. Because there's something wrong when you're going to turn that into, because I'm sorry, but women do it too. If anything, you call somebody that, it's almost a freaking compliment.
Uh,
No, seriously though, when is that
Dude, that
word
makes no sense.
homophobic slur?
That makes no sense.
None. I saw that and I'm going, what? There's something wrong with people.
yeah, people are too sensitive. You know, we've had this conversation how many times? You and I.
Yeah. What's
That's
the woke?
ridiculous.
It's being woke. I mean, that's too woke. If you're saying
Yeah.
that's a homophobic, what happened for like the last 1,000 years? That's been said. Was it ever a homophobic slur before? No.
I just hate that. Well, hate's too strong of a word. I just like that I personally have to watch everything that comes out of my mouth because I'm that guy that loves to just speak whatever's on his mind. And if I think you're a cocksucker, I'm going to call you a cocksucker.
Yeah.
Right.
You
But
know?
it has nothing
But
to do
now
with
I
that.
have
You're
to
not
be
saying
like,
he's gay.
No, now
Because if you
oh,
call that
let
to
me
a
think
woman,
about that.
is a woman, if a woman is, you call that, is she gay? No, obviously not. You wouldn't be calling her that.
All it
Then
is a
then
fucking
it's carpet
insult.
muncher. That's different.
All you're trying to do is make a fucking insult to somebody. That's like,
Of
come
course, you're angry.
on. No,
You know how many times I've used that word at a guy? I never once thought that he's gay.
Rick, wouldn't carpet
Exactly.
muncher then now be a homophobic slur the other way? If
guess.
cocksucker's a homophobic,
I think carpet muncher might have always been. So, but no, sorry, cocksucker is not. And I apologize. I know that's a pretty bad word for most people to hear. It's common in my house, but I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. There's something wrong with us if we're calling that a homophobic slur. You guys, whatever we were talking about there. Oh yeah, by the way, it seems that it was right. It was Troy Stetcher's father he was talking about. I think I remember.
Was it Stetcher? Yeah.
Yeah.
He said something and then he like pointed up to the sky, and I don't know.
It was. You're right. It was a horrible thing.
Something up. He either said something about what. That's what I perceived it as, something along the lines of like. Something along the lines of like, you'll. I don't know. I lost my train of thought, but basically,
his father's dead, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
his
he made
father
some kind of
died.
He said
he
something, and then I think pointed to the sky, and I think it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. So maybe So listen, we can eliminate the teams. We don't want him to go to Arizona. Eventually, we're getting to Montreal, and we can make an argument to the league and say, listen, he can't go to those teams. We give him the reasons, and they have to give him to Montreal. What do you say? We do that?
If it only worked that way.
If only. Well, apparently now, O'Reilly and how do you say Acciari?
Achari.
They had called Sheldon Keefe because Keefe was asked if they're going to play in the game tonight, and he said not only that, they told me that they insisted that they are in the game tonight. So apparently, you just have to insist on these things, and you get them.
Hang on.
So,
Anthony's on here saying Zegras did not say anything about his father passing away. It was debunked. He had something about the score.
I think that's
true. Said something about the score, and the game was against the Coyotes.
Oh, I remember it. They were reading his lips, and they said that's what he said. And you're right. It was debunked because they were reading his lips.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that was caught on the microphone.
Yeah.
And he got in a lot of shit for it. And see, he's innocent. So they can go to Anaheim or whatever. I take back what I said. All right. What else we got? What else you got, Pete? You got anything, Matt?
Well, excuse me. There was another comment that I saw, and I actually have seen this too, and it's just like Austin Matthews. Where is it? Where the hell? Anthony made it too, I think. Here it is. Same thing. He'll start shit and just skate away. Like a Brad Marchand or like an Austin Matthews.
Zegras is like that. He does start shit and kind of turns his back and starts walking away, and I don't like that about him. His talent.
I'm going to throw out a theory. Is it possible that he's getting a bad rap because he's the guy that started with that thing there? That what do they call that?
Michigan?
Michigan. You think is that possible?
No.
Maybe. Oh.
I wonder if it's not people
kid's
having a
got
bit of a
mad
bad
skills.
view of him because of that. Because I know most people don't like it. The Michigan
I don't mind it.
traditionalists don't like it. Let's put it that way.
Fuck that. I don't mind it. I think it brings
Yeah,
an
it doesn't bother
intangible
me
to the
either.
game.
I have to say, it doesn't really bother me either.
No.
No.
I didn't
It
like
just
it at
makes-
first.
It just makes your goaltender have to be aware of when he's on the ice, and if other players start doing it,
Oh, other
I think
players
goaltender-
are.
Yeah,
It's caught on. Oh, it's caught on.
Goaltenders
No,
now have to be aware of what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. It gets them more engaged in the game.
I didn't like it at first, and I kind of was a little vocal about it, but I thought about it, and you know what? It's no different than a guy trying to bounce a puck off of a goalie's mask and into the net. It's really no different. When you think about it, it's really no different. It's new. And when we were growing up, you didn't see that.
Well,
That's all.
I think what it is a lot of people. It's not a lot of people that can achieve what he's
It's true.
achieved. You know,
It's
not
a
everybody can
skillful,
do it.
as BL said, it's skillful. You got to have
Yeah.
good skill. Yeah.
So, you know,
But you're
I
seeing
think
a lot of guys
there's a little
attempt.
bit of jealousy in there. Like, come on,
Possibly.
let's be honest here.
Possibly. So there you go. So I could be right. It's either that it's like they hate him because they're jealous he could do it. But he was like the first one to do it, if I remember. And I think there's a little bit of hate on him for that.
I think, well, you know, the kid's got great talent. Look at that pass that he made to his line mate
Talented.
up over the net, and you know, they just verbalized it too. They just called it, and he tried it, and he was just like, "Holy shit! I can't believe it worked." You know, all he had to do was bat it out of the air.
Yeah.
You know, that's great hand eyes. Like, no, I like it. Like, let's bring more skill into the game.
Yeah, I didn't like it, but I'm okay with it now. I don't know that I want to see guys doing it all the time, but I think, you know, there's a time if you do it at the right time, I'm okay with it. I'll say.
Yeah.
Bob's saying he doesn't like it. He's not a huge fan of the Michigan, although it's super creative and unique. That it definitely is, and skillful. I think every Michigan goal should be reviewed for a stick above the crossbar, i.e. high stick. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Yeah. And maybe that's what people don't like about it. I don't know.
I think I see it as what we all got to try to remember as, you know, fans of the game. Hockey, a lot of the hockey players also play lacrosse in the off season.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So it comes natural to them to want to do that, right?
I'm okay with it as long as, like he says, it's not a high stick. Like if it's not an illegal stick, I'm okay with it.
For the most part, it usually isn't a high stick. It's usually bent over. They're getting the scoop on it, and it's come up and in.
Well, but I think if the crossbar is the you know the rule, then I think
usually
a few of them are over
underneath
that.
it. I mean, this, you know, the way I see it, it's usually happening under the crossbar.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're over the crossbar, but by the time they got the puck, as long as their stick's underneath, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think. But then they call the play dead when a high stick touches a puck. So then if it's a high stick at some point, even if you bring it down, it's on your stick. Shouldn't that be called down?
Isn't a high stick technically called after it's above the shoulder?
Okay, but if you're doing a Michigan, aren't you kind of above the shoulder to start it?
No,
not all the time, but a lot of the times I've seen them and they have been. I think they have been. I could be wrong.
I don't know. What's your take on that, Matt? I thought the Michigan usually is staying pretty low and then bringing it up.
You start low for the gather, and then it's all in one fluid motion. Everything kind of goes up at once, and then you right under the crossbar.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think as long as it's reviewable, then I'm okay with it. Because if it's an illegal goal, then it should be called down. I'm not okay with that. Something I wanted to read here. Anthony says the first Michigan was first used by Andre Schreck. Schreck did it. It's Scheck, but so it's not Trevor Zegras. The first time I saw it though was Trevor Zegras.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely was Trevor Zegras the first time I saw that. All right, we talked that one out. What else we got?
I gotta go.
And
I
you
gotta go
guys
grab my
can
laptop.
chip in there in the chat. If you got any ideas what you want to talk about, put it in the chat. We'll get to it. Sorry, Matt, I didn't hear you. Matt just left.
I gotta get my laptop charged. I'll be right back.
Okay, do that. Pete, what else you got on your list?
Oh, I got. Where do I go? Where do I start? One of the things that I like, a lot of the people out there may not, is how does everybody feel about fighting in the NHL? I kind of dig it. I think it still serves a purpose in the game. Otherwise, in my
what I don't
opinion,
like? I'm okay with fighting.
I don't like stage fighting.
That's it. That's what I don't like.
Shit.
I don't really like the stage shit.
I like
I don't mind
fighting.
I don't mind if two guys at the face-off at that point look at each other and go, "Let's go," because something happened in the game. But there's so many, like, just to get your team going. If you're staging I don't like that. I like a fight that happens organically. Guys are upset with each other. Boom. That I kind of do like. But yeah, I don't like too much fighting.
Well, so far, BL Duff's the only one that says fighting needs to stay, and yeah,
without a doubt. Listen, fighting has to stay for a couple of reasons. This is the main reason.
Mostly for player protection.
That's exactly it. Because if you don't have that outlet, because I played a little bit of hockey and just like nothing hockey, and I'm sorry, but you get mad sometimes. And if you don't have an outlet like that, well, you know what the guy's going to do instead of fighting? Going to take an eye out with a stick, or he's gonna smash in the head or something like that. And if you don't think that's true, it is true. So I think you got to have some fighting.
Imagine where we would be right now if we didn't have Jack-Eye.
Well, we know where we'd be. We've been up like the last 5 years.
Yeah, we'd be getting bitch slapped every time we fucking turned around. But
I love that story. I love the story. I don't know if it's Jordan Stahl. I think it's Jordan Stahl. Or Mark Stahl. I think maybe it's Mark Stahl. So he's saying that there was some kind of a scuffle, and he grabbed on to Jack-Eye. Jack-Eye looked at him and said, "You have 3 seconds to let me go."
Yep.
And he did. He let him go. I can just, for everybody here, we've talked about Justified before. I don't know if you guys have watched it. There's in the last season, there's a character, one of the bad guys, his name is Choo Choo. And I just watched it. Every time I hear that story about him saying you got 3 seconds, it's this guy's voice I have in my head. So anybody who's watched Justified, you know who I'm talking about, I think. I think fighting. Is
look,
necessary.
Anthony's right in there. Fighting is good. It gets the team going. Tells the other teams you can't take advantage of my guys on my team.
It's necessary. It is necessary as long as you're going to have some small guys on your team. I mean, it's necessary. Some teams, they can't protect themselves otherwise. Other teams are going to take advantage. We know we lived through it for how many years now.
Being a former goon.
It wasn't Dewey Crow.
It
wasn't No, it's not Dewey Crow. No, he's an idiot. No, it was one of the guys that are buying up all the property there, working for Avery Markham. I'm watching it again for like the 8th time. That's why I'm right there. Anyway, it came to mind.
No, it's all good. But basically, what I was going to get at is being a former goon on many teams. It really brings the locker room tighter together because all your teammates, they may not come out and say it, but a lot of the teammates respect the fact that you're willing to go out there and put your face, your body on the line for their protection.
But not goonery. I think you're wrong about if you're saying they like goons. They don't. I don't believe they do, but they like guys that will fight.
I just refer to it that way because
it's not goonery.
It's okay. Yeah,
I don't like goons. No, I don't like goons. I don't like that. That's the stuff we're saying. I don't like that type of fighting.
Yeah. Well,
that's the stage shit. That's goons.
Like in one of my other comments that I had, Fatillo, he was a true goon.
Yes. Nick
I
Fotiu was
scored.
a goon.
I scored a few goals, but mostly I was out there to help my teammates, take care of my teammates. That's what I was there for. I know it.
Listen, at times for sure, but there's also the goons fought like they were just goons, and it wasn't what we're talking. Not what I'm talking about.
Mm.
I don't like that kind of a player. I like a player like Jack. A player like Anderson, not Tom Wilson.
Another comment by Anthony there. We saw when Suzuki got hit and Josh went out and got to the fight, right?
Yeah.
If Jack Guy was there would not have been a Suzuki hit.
I don't know that that's true, but
I don't
Jack
know.
Guy, I would hope,
A
would have
lot
done
of
exactly the
people-
same thing.
A lot of people, when Jack Guy's on the ice, they're just like, okay, he's out
Yes,
there.
it's starting to happen, but I don't know that he's at that spot, that place yet where he's stopping everything, because we're still seeing guys do dirty freaking shit against Montreal. It's still happening. He's not reached that level yet, but I believe at one point that it will be like that, where guys will not do things because Jack Guy is there and they know he's going to freaking kill them.
Mhm.
So, all right, what's next? The refs have to just start calling penalties. Probably we know how we feel about the refs, for Christ's sake.
Mhm.
Now, here's a question, I guess. Does anybody feel that that'll ever be something that ever gets resolved, having quality reffing? I want to say 75% of the time, 85% of the time, because then that's acceptable. Do you think we'll ever get back to having that?
I think
Probably
reffing is going
not,
to go
no.
worse.
How can they get much worse, though? I mean,
It can get worse.
I know it could really, I guess, but how do they get away with it? I don't know. I would like to go back. Like, I always complained about refs. I've said this many times. I don't think there's ever a game where I didn't have, not too many games where I didn't have a complaint from as far back as I remember. But I'll tell you what, I'd go back to then and the reffing then than what it is today. It's the worst reffing I've ever seen in my life in over 50 years of watching hockey.
Hang on. Nicholas Lund brings up an interesting comment.
Go
No
ahead.
opinions at all of fighting the guy who delivers big, clean hits? Really? That has to go, though. What exactly is he getting at?
Well, when you hit a legal check and then, they take offense and you have to fight because you hit a clean hit. But I'm going to say this on that.
Some of those hits are borderline.
Listen, this hit that you're talking about that we're referring to, that was on our captain. This guy, whether clean or not, he sent him sprawling, and Nick could have hurt himself. I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't mind that Anderson stood up for that. I don't mind. That
I
doesn't
don't mind at
bother
all
me.
either.
Now, if
look
it's
at some of the hits
Drouin,
that Subban made when he was with us. Beautiful, clean hip checks or open ice hip checks and shit.
I agree with his point, though, with Nicholas. I really do, but I don't know that that's a thing that you could do. I agree with you. Perfect world, it's a clean hit. There shouldn't be any retaliation on a clean hit. But that's a perfect world, and it's never going to happen. And I do think that, like you said, a team bonding thing, you need that guy to stand up for your teammate because it's going to be good for your team. And that's why I'm okay with it. That's how I'm going to put it.
It all depends on the players involved. Like you said, if it's on your team captain, like a Nick Suzuki, or a small guy, like if it's on Cole Caulfield, shit like that kind of stuff can't happen because that's potentially like, look, we've lost Caulfield because of a good clean hit. So there needs to be that fear.
No, I think he did the shoulder. I think he said it wasn't you're right though. The hit was clean and then he fell on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And then he separated the first time. So you're right. It was a clean hit.
If you have the guy out there that does the policing and puts that fear in everybody.
Right, then that hit doesn't happen.
Exactly.
Even if it's clean, then it doesn't happen. They don't take that hit. And that's the whole point of it. I think, yeah. And like I said, team bonding, you want to bring a team together. something like that, right? It brings the
You know,
team together.
think-
You rally behind that guy.
I think back to Colorado, when Colorado had Simon there. Whenever he stepped out on the ice, there was so much room for whoever was playing. And he played with Sakic and got, what was it, 16, 18 goals that one season that he played on the line with Sakic?
I don't remember, but Simon was a pretty good player.
He was a decent player.
Simon could score. I remember
Yeah.
he wasn't the typical goon. He was a tough guy, kind of like we see Anderson, a tough guy that could score and could play. Yeah.
But he sure made sure that everybody knew, don't touch my boys.
Oh, Simon was a tough guy. Yeah. He was a tough guy to play. I remember. All right. What else we talking about? Oh, BL makes a good point too. Ask the Stars, Crosby and Ovi, they want keep fighting in the game.
Oh, for sure.
And that makes sense. And that's speaking to the point we're making because they're protected by guys like that. They have a lot more room out on the ice because of guys like that. All right. Where are we going next? What you got on your list? Matt, you got any topics you want to talk about coming in? Did you write everything down? You didn't have much time to prepare, I know. I only invited you in this afternoon, so. Okay, Pete, what else you got?
We kind of talked about this before the show, Rick. And because the game is so fast, right? I'm thinking, should other than high sticking, should some of the penalties be reviewed when the ref calls a penalty? Like, for instance,
that's not a new topic.
Splash on Austin tonight. Should that have been something that was reviewable, just to make sure that it was a good, legitimate slash and not just a little oops, just a tap on the wrist?
Because there are some penalties that they can review. Am I right? There are some penalties, and there's some that they can't. Am I right? But am I right? There's some that they can review, and there's some that they can't. There's no. It's a penalty. It's called, and they can't review it.
See, and I think that needs to be edited in a way that the other ref can, they can have a quick conversation. Hey, did you see what I saw? No. Should we have a quick peek? Yeah, we need to make sure, because a penalty right now, the way some teams are stacked, can determine the outcome of a game.
Yeah, but I think the refs kind of like that. They have that power.
But I guess what I'm trying to get at is we need to take that power, and in this way, this may be a way to get the power back to the players if some of those penalties are reviewable. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, but let me ask you this.
Because then the ref isn't the one that's solely responsible. Okay, I made a bad call. It's not a penalty. Face off at center dot.
Let me ask you this, though. What stops that from happening so often that it slows the game down completely? And there are solutions. I'm sure there are. I was thinking, and we talked about this, I think the last time, is that ref up. You know how they have a coach sometime up in the eye in the sky?
Yep.
I think having a ref up there might not be a bad idea, or a ref separate from the guys on the ice that reviews the play. And it doesn't really have to mean much of a stoppage to have that done.
Yeah, I called that a couple of shows back. I said, we need to have an eye in the sky that, hey, that was a penalty. No, that's not a penalty.
Right now, isn't Toronto War Room supposed to be doing that?
They do it on goals and goals only, isn't it?
Right, and goals only, right. And they're not reliable.
No, you need a guy at the game to call the game. So that would mean more cost, because you're going to have another guy up there.
I think the NHL can afford it.
Oh, fuck, they can afford it.
But the thing is, my worry for something like that, and I'm curious what you guys in the chat think about this, is the time that's lost in a game.
I don't think it'll be that bad, because it's not like, every 3 minutes there's a penalty called.
No, it's true. In some games, there's barely penalties. But there's games, when you think about it, it averages out at the very least, because some games there's a ton of penalties, but those are kind of few and far. They're not often anyway.
They're not often. No.
Yeah. And on those games, you might have problems.
It's going to be called and looked at.
And not every penalty would be reviewed, because they're not going to say, well, it's a penalty, let's review it. Yeah. Only when it's a controversy.
Exactly. Like tonight, that little fucking flinch by Austin, I don't think that was a penalty in my eyes.
I
Only
didn't
'cause
see
he
the
threw his little
replay.
fucking bitch temper tantrum at the end of it.
I
and
didn't
it
see
turned
the
into a
replay.
penalty.
Here's something on that. Since you spoke about that, did anybody catch? It was a little bit after that play. Something happened at the net, at the Habs net. Matthews right at the side of the net. Something happened, and he looks at the ref for a second, not long. He looks at the ref to see if he's going to get a call, and then goes back. He wasn't going to get the call.
Yeah,
but did
because
you
he
see
got
that
the call
little?
a few minutes earlier, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
he
shook
did
his
that,
hand.
but he did it. He tried to do it again. I wonder if anybody saw that. The way he looked at the ref, and then he looked back. It was quick. But man, I saw that. He was looking at the ref to see if he could get the ref to make a call. So I think he does do that shit. Although I think a lot of players do. It's just the Stars get away with that.
Yeah, see, Nicholas Lund agrees with me. Can't allow much interventions, but yes, an eye in the sky for sure. They need help out there. The game is too fast nowadays, and it is too fast. Even having, 2 refs and 2 linesmen out there, it's not enough. You still need some kind of reviewable help.
How? Okay, but I guess because the game, I was going to ask. I answered my own question, but I'll ask it, and I'll tell you why. Think of this. When we were younger, it was 1 ref, and it was adequate. So why, when there's 2, is it worse? But it's because the game is so much faster than it ever was. Like when there's plays at the line when they call it offside and you see it, and the puck just comes out. Like I don't always catch that. I do sometimes. These guys are good at most of the time. Like I don't understand why they're so bad. Like if it's not on purpose, I don't understand it.
It's just so fast. Like I used to be able to catch everything in a game. Now
you're not going to catch it. You're right.
No, now I got to back it up. I got to watch it again, and
yeah, eye in the sky or
quick.
somebody in the stands in a good spot is a good idea.
The eye in the sky is going to work best because in the stands you're limited on views.
True.
You got to be looking down at the game.
In the rafters, they have that spot kind of in the middle of the ice. I think you have something. That's where the guy needs to be.
Yep. And, it would be lovely to see that happen.
I doubt they're ever going to listen to us, but I don't know how you'd get an idea to the Board of Governors meeting or some shit like that to talk about it. But I don't know.
Now, you mentioned someone else earlier. You guys talked about Fleury and Xhekaj in the game. What does everybody out there in the chat think about Fleury and Xhekaj? Should Montreal pursue this kid? He's big at 18, 6'2", 185.
Well,
before we get go ahead, Matt. You've been quiet. So
before we get to that, now that I can get words in, I actually do have some thoughts about having an eye in the sky ref.
Go ahead.
That's how it works on instant replay in England in the Premier League with soccer and the Champions League. They call it VAR. The referee is
they have that camera
at the stadium. They have a room, and the referee's got like 10 different monitors, and he's got an earpiece, and the ref on the field's got an earpiece.
Yep.
And they review fouls, they review red cards, offsides. The offsides kind of piss me off because it's been a lot of controversy around them, but what'll happen is the VAR ref will, he'll go over the earpiece, he'll say, hey, listen, we got to take a look at this, or, I think, I don't know if you got that right. Let's have a look, and he'll take a quick look, and he'll either signal to the ref to
do the box.
Go over to he'll go he'll signal down to the ref to go like this, and that ref will go over, look at the screen, and they'll talk it over to make sure they got the call right.
And it hasn't done anything to the game, has it? The game is still quick. The game is actually, I think, quicker now.
I don't watch soccer, so I don't know.
I don't know about this weekend yet, but last weekend VAR.
We lost Matt.
Can you get me now?
Yeah. No, that's an interesting. I like that. I like that, and I think that's a really good idea. Now, here's my question to you: what do you think the chances are they actually do something to fix up the situation with the refs? You think they'll really do anything about it, or do you think that the league is actually happy, as they say? Bedman says best refs any league anywhere. You really think they feel that way?
I'd hate to think that they feel that way.
Mhm.
because the product on the ice is really harmed by the way the refs are calling the games. Not every ref
I
is
think so.
biased.
Most of them are. Most of them, like, it's really hard to find a good ref.
It is.
You know, where you could say this guy calls the game the right way. It's not easy to find one that's completely like that anymore. You know, when my day, I remember there were some we hated, but there were some good ones. You know, there were some good refs in
There were
it.
some good ones.
No.
There were far and few between. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Mm.
There's really only two that come to mind, just with any of the major sports, and they're both from the NFL, and that's Ed Hachuli and
Yep.
Gene Sterrick,
Achilles.
two of the best refs I have ever seen in any
I know
major
Matt-
sport. They're both
Matt
retired
watches
now,
a-
but they were both amazing.
Matt watches a lot of sports, so that means he knows. Like he's watched a lot of sports. He knows his.
I've seen a lot of good refs, and I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
refs where I don't know how
Well,
they
that's
make it out of
saying
the building with.
That's saying something when you could say, yeah, the two. I only know of two good ones, and they're both in the NFL. And that's it. That's saying a lot, man. I mean, I used to be able to say that I like that ref, or it's Kerry Fraser. I hate him, you know. But yeah, they're all bad to me today.
There's one ref too in England. I don't know if I think he actually did get promoted to ref in the Premier League, and he's actually from Australia. But he's also really, really good, very neutral, and he always makes it a point to like talk stuff over with the assistant referees on the side. You know, like he'll have it, go over and say, like, is this what you saw, or
Yeah, making
So
sure he
it's-
got their call
but-
right.
just those three guys, only those three guys, the only three that
Yeah.
I would say have been spectacular.
I couldn't name one in the NHL. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head a ref that I would say is good. Where I could when I was younger, I could. So yeah. What does it mean? I don't know. I don't watch every game, obviously. I only watch Habs games, but still. We end up seeing pretty much all the refs at one point or the other. They all suck.
Plus, if there was ever like a VAR ref in hockey, you can get rid of the offside challenge because the VAR ref can see that and go, "Hey, listen, we got to pull the plate. This play was actually offside. We got to take a look at this." And now you don't got to worry about a penalty.
No,
Yeah.
Something's
well,
right or wrong.
you know what though? I would still like the coach challenge to be there. Take away the penalty if they're wrong. You
Okay,
give
But
them
if it's
three
a-
opportunities a game. Take away the penalty if they're wrong.
But like Matt's saying, if it's VAR done, if the VAR is doing it, then you don't have to have that challenge.
Yeah, but what if they think they saw something and the VAR guy says he didn't, like, he's not coming out and saying, "Oh, we got to look at this." I think they should still have a challenge. Take away the penalty if they're
Oh,
wrong.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
like
you could
that.
still
Even
leave
for
it.
the other team, I don't like it. It's not. I don't like let them challenge. Why should they get penalized if they're wrong? Because they're delaying the game. I guess that's what they're saying. It's a delay of game, but you're only giving them lower it to two challenges a game instead of three,
Yeah.
and take away the penalty.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Because another reason on that, by the way, how many times have we seen that where we goddamn well know that was the wrong call? Montreal gets a penalty. That's not fair. For the team that got screwed over for the call because the refs are incompetent, why should that team get a penalty?
Mhm.
That's how I look at it.
No,
And I'm not
I
just saying cut for us, for any team.
agree. I don't think, as far as I know, too, between the four sports that allow challenges, being MLB, the NBA, the NHL, and the NFL, the NHL is the only sport that gives a penalty for challenging something.
Oh,
No
well, then
penalty in the
that's
NFL.
automatic. Then I 100% think that should be removed.
There's no
That's
penalty
ridiculous.
in the NBA.
That's
You
ridiculous.
lose the
Then
challenge,
why do
but they don't.
So why the hell
Not
they
that
do it?
you could give a penalty in the NBA or MLB, but football, you can challenge a call, and they're not going to go, 10-yard penalty for delay a game.
So does anybody out there in the chat, does anybody know why that they do it in the NHL? And do you guys know why they do that and they don't in the other leagues? Do you know?
Have no clue.
That
But
makes no sense. If they're modeling it on, well, let's do it because they do it in the other. Why you put a freaking penalty on it? Because we got to be different. because I'm Gary Bettman. I don't know. Like, what is that?
You know, Matt, you were saying that you only know. Do you watch any box lacrosse?
Any what?
Not box
box
lacrosse, outdoor. I watch outdoor.
What the hell
lacrosse.
is that? Wait, what is that?
What?
Box lacrosse is lacrosse in a hockey stadium,
Yeah.
like a hockey
Oh,
rink, but
lacrosse
they have
like in a
floor
box.
over it.
I
get
gotta
it.
say,
Yeah.
watching box lacrosse, the referees in that game, I gotta say, they call damn good. They call good games.
because
Right.
it's not a big enough
I don't think
sport.
I've ever been upset at a lacrosse ref.
Because it's
ever.
not a big enough sport. So there's no. I'm sure that's
It's
why.
huge,
And they
Rick. Lacrosse is huge.
okay, but it's not one of the major sports.
It's yeah, I guess it's.
It
I
still
know
has
the TSN
integrity
is
and
starting
it's
to broadcast more box lacrosse.
and
games.
I bet you anything, if it grows big like any of the other sports, you'll see the refereeing worsen.
Oh, I would hate that because it's one game right now that, there's, mind you, there's not a lot of rules. Like you can beat the shit out of your opponent with your stick. I don't know. Just thought I'd throw that out there. That game that the refs are doing well. So maybe the NHL could look into why the refs in the NLL are doing such a good job and try to bring that aspect into the NHL and maybe.
But they won't, because their noses are in the air saying their refs are the best refs. Any league, doesn't matter where. So what, they're going to look at another league for that? I doubt it. And I think you're right. They should, but I doubt it. It's unfortunate. BL's got a question. I don't know either. He says, don't they lose timeouts if they're wrong? Do they take away one of their timeouts if they're wrong?
What, in the NFL?
No, in the NHL. Do they get a penalty and they take away one of their timeouts? Does anybody know that?
I think you just get the penalty. I don't think you lose the timeout.
Hey, Anthony, have a good night. Hey, thanks for being here. Appreciate it, man. And yeah, you got to get some new glasses if you think we're sexy. Get some new glasses. I can't speak, though, for Pete, that's different. I'm just talking for me and Matt. And I shouldn't even say that for Matt. But if you think I'm sexy, but thanks. I appreciate the compliment.
My wife thinks I'm sexy.
Well, she should.
Should she?
She should. Yes.
I look in the mirror and I do the big fuck.
It doesn't matter what you think. It only matters what she thinks. No, I don't mean it in a weird way. It doesn't matter what you think as long as she thinks you are. That's all. It's her business to think you are or aren't. You shouldn't be judged for that. I don't think you're sexy, but hey, that's me.
Well, I don't think you're sexy either.
I hope not. I really do.
Matt, though, we both think Matt's quite sexy.
Matt, you shouldn't come over here and bend. Don't bend down in front of Pete.
It's the beard and the glasses.
Just don't bend down in front of Pete.
Don't
drop the soap,
BL.
man.
I'm not a backdoor guy.
You're not a backstabber?
No.
BL, you are right.
That made me laugh for some reason. Sorry.
They do lose in the NFL. You do lose a timeout.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, but there's no penalty. There's
No.
nothing that'll affect the on-field.
We're talking
thing.
the NHL.
The NHL, you lose the timeout too, I believe, right? If you're wrong.
Well, that's what he's asking. Do we?
I don't think you do. I think you just get the penalty.
No, you know what? I kind of think. I'm
pretty sure you also lose a timeout.
I think you lose one. I think you do.
Really?
You lose a timeout, I think, if you're wrong.
I think so.
And the penalty in the NHL. In the NFL, you just lose a timeout.
That's
in the NBA, I think you just lose your ability to challenge because you only get one challenge a game. But I can't remember if you lose a timeout. Not that it would really affect much in the NBA because you get like 7.5.
Yeah.
But and then MLB, I don't think anything really happens.
No, he's saying BL says MLB. No, BL says MLB. You lose a challenge.
Well, yeah, you would lose your ability.
So
to
that seems to be okay. So lose one of the challenges, but what, the penalty too?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, there should be no penalty. Lose a timeout. If you're wrong on the challenge, you lose a timeout.
Oh, there's a good one. You lose a timeout, or you lose a challenge. You get 3.
You only get one timeout in hockey, but you do lose. I'm pretty sure you lose the timeout if you lose the challenge.
Don't you get a timeout every period in hockey?
No, I think it's one timeout per game.
Are
I
you
don't-
sure? I thought
I
it
don't
was
think
3
it's one.
timeouts. I thought you get 1 per period.
I thought you get 1 per
Is it?
period.
Possible. Let me look it up. And
We
you,
ought to
you
read.
guys could be right
We
on
all
that.
ought to read the freaking rule book.
Huh.
Plus, also rules
Bob Cannon
changed
says
since
it's
we
1
were
timeout
young.
per game.
One
It is
timeout per
one
game.
during a game. It's 1 per game.
Really? I thought there was one. Okay, I think it used to be there was 1 a period, and they changed it to 1 a game because I'm pretty sure it was 1 a period. Anyway,
I think
I've
1 a
been wrong
period would be
before.
fine.
You learn something new
And then,
every day.
you know, whatever period you're in, you lose your timeout for the period.
Yeah.
NFL
you get
gets
3
3 timeouts
a
per half.
football,
Yeah,
you get,
NFL
I
gets
think,
more. I know that.
think it's 5, 6, or I can never remember how many timeouts you get in basketball. It's usually a lot, but you get like, I think per half, I'm pretty sure you get, I think 5 or 6 timeouts a half in
For
basketball.
basketball, but look how many. It's not like you have a huge roster, right? Basketball is like 11 guys, right? That's your whole bench.
Typically 13 or 14 guys.
On the bench in basketball, it's more than I thought, but it's not a lot. So I
Well,
can see
it's
why
not
they
in
could
the
have more
you have your
timeouts.
starting 5, and then you typically will have 7 or 8 guys on the bench.
Okay, I thought there was only like 6 guys on the bench. I really did. So, but still, it's not a lot of guys, and I can see why you could have more timeouts because you have less guys on the bench. So I can see that, but
Mhm.
yeah, too many timeouts also, too much. What else? What else we got? Goaltending interference. That's something that they wouldn't you guys? I mean, everybody would agree, right? If they could come to some kind of a consensus as to what is goaltending interference, because when you hear hockey players, guys playing the game, saying, "Yeah, we don't really know what that is." That's something wrong with that.
They need
don't
to
you think?
define that. They need to
Don't you
define
think?
it in a hurry. Something's
Like-
got to be done like Toot Sweet.
Yeah, I think so.
The way I see it, to me, goalie interference is anything that the opposing player does on his own, that affects the goalie's ability to make a save. You know, anything
Which is
like
basically,
that's
listen,
goalie interference.
it's basically what the rule is, but they don't apply that. Right? If you've got your foot in the crease, your foot is in the crease, your whole body's not, but your foot is. And the goalie can't get his hand around, and a goal goes in, but he might not have saved it anyway, but his ability to defend his net is jeopardized. That's supposed to be goalie interference, but do they call that? No. Only when they feel like they want to penalize the team.
It's so fucking dirty. It's so dirty. They really need to define it, and because technically, if you go by the rule, then standing in front of the goaltender is goalie interference.
No.
Right.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So let me
No.
reword than what I said.
You have to be in the crease. If you are in the crease, then it is. If you're standing outside the crease, no, it's not goalie interference.
No, what I'm trying to say, Rick, is by rule, they're saying that you have to be in the goaltender's crease, or
And
you have
be
to
blocking him.
obstruct his
Yeah,
movement.
even if the goal would have gone in anyway, and it's here, and you blocking him here, he can't defend his crease 100%. It's goalie interference.
But what I'm saying, to contradict that, be the devil's advocate, so to speak, is standing in front of the goaltender. He's not able to see the puck now. That should be goalie interference.
No, that's a screen.
That's
saying you can't screen a goalie?
But you see what I'm trying to get at?
No, I don't agree. See, no, I don't, because screening a goalie, you can't say you can't screen a goalie anymore. That would be freaking ridiculous.
I know.
Right. No, but what he's saying is
Okay.
by the letter of the law, because that's affecting the goaltender's ability to see the puck.
No, it's
to make
not.
A save, by the
you're
letter of the
wrong,
law,
though.
that would be goalie interference.
No, because you're wrong. Because you could be screening the goalie, but you're not in the crease. It's only if you're in the crease.
But does the way that the rule is written, does it say in the crease?
Yes.
Okay.
I had the rule. Listen, I had the rule about a month ago in my pregame show, and I read it.
Okay.
So,
But here's something else I want to say. And I know that, and I'm saying this because, I think the IHF needs to kind of reevaluate this because they kind of screwed us over against you guys. But if you have possession of the puck and you're in the crease because you just try, regardless of what happens, if you have possession of the puck and you're doing a sweeping motion or whatever, and it goes in, right? Or like, you do a sweeping motion and for whatever reason you tap the goalie, but the puck still goes in. I don't think that should be goalie interference. The IHF calls it goalie interference. I don't think it should be. If I have the puck because it's in the blue paint and I grab the puck to put it in, and something happens and I tap the goalie, I don't think that should be goalie interference at all.
okay, but here's the difference. Here's the difference, though. It's written in their rules. It's not an interpretation thing. It's written in their rules.
Right, but
They
I'm
have
saying that
different
that
rules
shouldn't
than
be
we do
that
in the
shouldn't be
NHL.
in the rules.
It's not
If
technically.
you have possession
It's
of the
in the
puck
rules.
in the crease, like how else are you
No,
supposed?
I know what
like,
you're talking about. I remember
what
the
I mean?
Canada-US game, and that
twice
in the NHL that would not have been a goal. In the IIHF, it is a goal because it's in their rules. It's written there.
Other
so
way around. In the IHF,
Okay,
it was
whatever.
no goal. In the NHL, it would have been a goal.
Whatever.
But
right,
the
vice
IHF
versa,
needs
it's
to
fine.
change the rule because that's ridiculous. If you
I
have
get- I
possession of the
understand.
puck and you're in the crease,
I understand, but that's getting them to change a rule. Here we're talking about the rule is this. Go by what the rule is. They're not doing that. There's a difference there.
They're overthinking it.
No, I think they want to have the ability to decide whether it's fair or not. And that's what's wrong. Refs are not, refs are like journalists, right? Refs are there to call the game, call the infractions, call the game, not decide it, but call it. Just
But that's
like
what the fucking refs are
journalists
doing these
are
days.
supposed to report the news, not give a lean, not give a this or an opinion, report the news. It's I see it the same way.
Mhm.
But they don't do that. They make up their mind. Well, I see it like this. So because they had a penalty before and we're going to give you a penalty to even it up. Like, what's that bullshit? Call the game the way the rules are written.
Yeah.
No? Anybody agree with me on that? Not just you guys.
Sorry.
Anybody support me in the chat?
I also think too, and I haven't seen this a lot, but I have also seen instances where, like, a goaltender will kind of see a player in the crease and then, like, not make an effort to get to the puck, and, like, take like minimal contact and, like, just not make an effort to do anything, and then they call that goalie interference. I think that's egregious. I think if you're not making an effort to even make a play on the puck, you shouldn't be called goalie interference.
I kind of look at it like this. If they call the rules the way they're written, then the guy that is causing that interference, or whichever one is at the losing end, I don't know if I'm putting that right, will stop doing that because they won't get the call. Or they get a call against them for doing it. So the thing is, call it the way it's supposed to be called, and don't leave. Maybe there's a few things that need to be interpreted, I guess, but in general, just call it the way it's written. Wouldn't that be easier if everybody knew, well, this is how it's written, they're going to call that, don't do it.
It would be easier. But
right? But the thing is,
like I said, the referees are overthinking the rules.
Consistency of the calling is wrong. If they would be more consistent in how they call it, and that means maybe some of the rules need to be rewritten so they're clear for everybody, all the refs to understand and not have to interpret.
There's that, and maybe there needs to be some on-ice education done about it.
That too. But if you had clearly written rules that you don't need a lot of interpretation, wouldn't it be easier to teach refs how to call a game properly? And then players learn that they're going to call it this way every time. Don't do it. Or if you did it, well, you're going to get a penalty.
I've also seen two instances where like the goalie will kind of come out a little bit outside the crease to make a play on the puck. There'll be contact, and the puck will go in, and it'll be called goalie interference. And like to me, I think the important part of the rule, the way it's written, is in the crease. The goalie is out of the crease for any reason. Puck's fair game. I mean, obviously you can't blast them or anything, but like,
so you can write
if he
that
comes out to say poke check it or something,
you
and
can
you're
write it
skating
into
in
the
and you
rule.
knock his stick out or you knock his blocker off and then score, that shouldn't be goalie interference. He's trying to make a play on the puck.
Okay, but
I've
again,
seen that called goalie interference.
If you leave that to the interpretation of the ref, then that's where the problem is. But you could put that in the rule. You can make a subsection of that rule, and then it can be clear instead of them having to make a decision. What did I see? How do I going to call it? Am I biased towards this team? Do I not like this player? It shouldn't be part of the decision of the ref. What is the rule? It's written this way. It's called that way. And if they don't call it that way, they should be judged on that. Because they got to clean up the refereeing. They're not going to.
Here's a thought: what if they sent? I don't know. Maybe this is dumb, but what if our referee? No, because it's different rules. Never mind. Forget it.
Never mind. What's all this about violins on TV? Okay, that's an old reference. Saturday Night Live. Emily Latella. She's supposed to be speaking about violence. She's talking about violins, and then she'd go, "Never mind." You don't remember that, Pete?
Nope. Was never a big Saturday Night Live.
Oh, well, Emily Latella. It's Gilda Radner character. Sorry for being so old. I'm old enough that I saw the first Saturday Night Live. First time, like I saw that.
Live in New York.
1975. I was 12 years old, or almost 12. I don't remember what month it was. I was either just turned 12 or I was about to turn 12. So yeah,
this is fun. Great discussions going on here. Nicola.
Pick out some stuff from the chat, guys. If you're looking at the chat, just pick out stuff and read it out. I know we're ignoring them, and I don't like doing that.
I don't like it either, and that's why I said Nicholas Lund just said this is fun. Great discussions going on here. Thumbs up.
Oh, awesome! Thank you, Nicholas. We're trying. It's off the cuff at this point, but we're trying. Hey, Franco, good to see you there. Why is the ice painted blue, for the goalie or the players?
I think it's for the
both.
Goalie.
I mean, that's
more so for the goalie.
No, it's for the rule. I mean, it's for the rule. If your foot is in the blue paint and you interfere with the goalie and he can't defend his net and a goal goes in, that's goalie interference. And the only way to tell that is by defining make it easy to tell that his foot is in. If it's all white, you might not see it as easy. With the blue paint, you could see the difference. But it's for both players, I think. Bob says this is about them calling, especially about guys who put their stick blades into the hands of a player with the puck. Well, that's going to be called. If you touch a player on the hands, it used to be kind of, they let guys slash hands. They don't anymore. You just touch them lightly. Doesn't matter. Your stick is on their hand like that. That's a penalty. And they mostly call that, but they're not 100% on it. But they should be. But that's a pretty clear penalty now.
It is. And I think one of the main reasons they kind of cracked down on that was when Mike Mathot lost his finger.
Right. Oh, you're right.
Cosby
I think that's the
so
one.
Hard, he took his glove off, and the tip of his finger from about here down was just hanging off.
I think that you're right.
Called anything.
I think that's when it changed, and they started to. That's it. If you touch the hands, it's a penalty. Even if it looks like a soft call, it doesn't matter. The rule is just touch the hands. They're not allowing that anymore. And I've seen many of the Habs guys. How many times? I think Richer, Covey almost that I was talking about it earlier. He almost got a broken wrist or whatever out of that. But I've seen guys many times smash on the hands, and if you hit them in the right spot, the wrist is broken. Or a finger.
Well, apparently the tip of the finger is on the glove. You lose a finger.
Well,
I remember when that happened.
Gloves. These new gloves are
Yeah.
not as protective as the old ones.
Yeah.
So it's another,
I
and
remember when
that's
the
another
Mathot thing
reason.
happened.
But that's another reason why they're so they enforce that touching the hand like that with the stick. The gloves aren't as protective, and a lot of guys were getting really hurt bad by bang, bang, bang on the wrists. They used to let that go, man, a lot.
You know what they need to do? Fuck all the rules. Just play old time hockey. Crash them, bang them.
Let them know you're there.
Yeah.
Slap
Fuck
shot.
it all.
Can you
No
imagine?
helmets, no face masks.
Can you imagine? I mean, you know what? Everybody would be injured all the time because that you allow that shit. But that was funny to watch. That was a good movie. Okay, listen, we're getting near the end, and it kind of that was a really good segue, unplanned, because I kind of wanted to ask this. It's a personal thing. I'm always looking for stuff to watch. What are you guys watching? Can I find you guys got anything good for me to watch? And Slapshot was a great movie. I don't know if it stands up as much today.
I forget which Hanson brother, but I have a Charlestown Chiefs jersey. I have to break it out.
Yeah, I think it still stands up today. That even though it's kind of old, but I think
Slapshot
it does
is
still stand up. Yeah,
it still stands up there.
So yeah, if you guys, we can still talk about rules, but I wanted to. I kind of was thinking of that before that I wanted to ask you guys what you guys are watching, and then we segued into Slapshot, so it was perfect. But if you guys want to continue talking a little bit more, we got about 14 minutes to go before we're done. And we can talk about really whatever you guys want to talk about and give you guys a little bit of attention here. Let's see. Guru says calls need to be consistent without a doubt. But that's not the case these days. No, it's not at all. Franco says, yes. The gloves have gotten smaller and few wear wrist protection nowadays. And I don't know why they do that. Matt, what were you going to say? You were going to say something.
No, I was going to say, because we were talking about Slapshot. You imagine if that movie was like made today and came out? Oh my God.
But think of it. Like, I wonder if they could.
Right.
I wonder if they could, like, could they do the on ice stuff a little better? I would think so, eh? It would be a much more, like, I'd like to see a good remake.
No, that's fine. I'm just talking about the language. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
The language has got to stay.
No,
it have to. But I mean, just the way some people are nowadays, like the woke crowd. Like, can you imagine?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, they couldn't make that same movie.
The woke crowd doesn't need to watch that shit.
It would be watered down. No, I think Matt's right. They'd water down that good stuff. You know, they'd definitely water it down.
Oh man, because I mean, there's some scenes, man, that I can't repeat because we'll get canceled off the web. But man, that movie's great. It's so funny.
I'm gonna have to watch it again. I haven't watched it for a long time. It's been a year or two.
Bob, that's a good point. And it is their choice with the gloves. But from what I understand, these new gloves, they're so comfortable, and it gives you a much better control of the stick. You know, when you're stick handling. That's why they like I believe that's why they like the shorter gloves, because when you're stick handling, I mean, I'm sure some of you guys play hockey. You need to be kind of loosey-goosey with the wrists.
Yeah.
And that's always been my problem. I've been a little too tight. But in the stick handling, the longer gloves can kind of affect that, you know? So I think that's one of the reasons they like the shorter ones.
I used to have my uncle's gloves when he played in high school back in he would have played like in the 80s. And the cuff of the glove was like to here.
Oh, look
like,
at the old
gloves. That's how long
gloves.
they used to be.
My first pair of gloves came up to my mid forearm. Yeah.
Yep. Mid forearm.
And when you think about it, when you're trying, I mean, you don't have as much flow that way. And my mom bought me for Christmas one year a newer set of gloves. It was the first time I used them. Wow, so much easier to handle the puck because you don't have that. It's not as constrictive. I think that's the right word. Anyways, I
No,
don't know why
for
we're
sure.
talking about gloves.
I mean, my gloves now, I think the cuff's like right here. It's like
Where?
right around here.
I don't know where my
Just
gloves
right
are. I
around
can
my
go get
wrist.
there. I don't know where's my freaking gloves.
Yeah, if I had them on, they would break just past my wrist. Would be the end of the cuff.
Oh, they're up there. Yeah, I'm not gonna get them. But yeah, my new ones are a little. They go up somewhere like here, maybe here.
Yeah, it's like
No,
it's
actually,
just past where like
just past the wrist.
just past where you break your wrist. It's
Just past the
you
wrist.
go
Yeah,
like that. It's right
that's
there.
right.
Yeah.
But nowadays they come in a little lower than that, like right at the wrist.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's really easy if you let them hit the gloves. It's really easy to break a wrist on a guy.
Oh, yeah, there's not a lot of padding in that back
No.
cuff of the glove. Most of the paddings are all on the fingers.
And listen, if you see guys sometimes in the interviews, you'll see he's wiping his head. He's got that thing on his wrist. That's for protection. It's the only protection they got. That little thing on their wrist. What's that?
Hornitos.
Oh, Bob Cannon's asking what I'm drinking tonight. There you go, Bob.
What is that? Well,
Tequila.
oh, it is tequila. I couldn't see it.
Yeah, it
It didn't
is.
say tequila on there.
Hornitos.
So nobody's watching any
Hornitos.
kind of shows that they want to turn me on to. Nothing. Okay. I thought that was a good thing. I'm sorry for the rough look, by the way. I freaking broke my electric razor. I got to buy a new one. Anybody got it? No, I'm going to go look for one on Monday. I don't know why I brought it up. Never mind.
Go to Costco.
Yeah, it's too far for me. I don't drive, so I ain't going to I'm going to Walmart. I looked online at Amazon. They got so many, but it's like they got like 5 different kinds. But there's like 100 people selling with a different company name on it. But it's the same razor, and the reviews are shitty. And I don't want to take a chance buying online, and then I get it, and it's crap.
Mm.
You know. Anyway, I'm gonna go to Walmart. I'll buy it there. Animal Kingdom. I've seen the whole thing. So, but it's a good recommendation, Bill. But I have seen it all. As some of you guys, if you watch that, might not have seen the last season, but by now you must have. But I watch it in a kind of pirated way, so I got it like a year ahead of everybody.
Mm.
I think because it ran in the UK before it ran in Canada, even though it's an American show. But how about some more recommendations? What do you guys watch?
The Last of Us, I think.
Yeah, I'm watching that.
We're watching. Oh, and then your usual 1883, or not 1889.
1923.
Yeah.
I'm watching that. I think
What do
we
you
all
guys
watch.
think of Costner? Speaking of that,
Yeah, is he
that,
leaving? Is it confirmed that he's
yeah,
leaving
Kevin
Yellowstone?
Costner's leaving. Yeah,
Is it
What is it?
confirmed?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I read
they're going to kill him off.
recently. I read something recently where he was saying, "No, I'm not leaving."
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of unclear. And if he
Yeah.
does, though, they got Matthew McConaughey coming in and taking over, not the same role, but a new role. But they're going to kill off Costner's role. They're going to kill him off. That's what I read.
He's such a lazy.
And I
prick.
like Yellowstone. It's such a shame they're ruining this
Yeah.
freaking show.
Mm.
Yes, I watch Yellowstone, and no
Yellowstone's
Sopranos.
fantastic.
You've told me I've seen some of it. I'm not a big Sopranos guy. Get
Love the
Pluto
Sopranos.
TV free online, no subscription or fees.
Oh yeah.
I have a place. It's called Soap Number 2 and Day. Soap Today. I get almost everything that I want to get there.
Check out Pluto though. It's not bad. Like you can get the old Happy Days and all that kind of shit.
I don't watch a lot of the old stuff though. I'm not one that's really going to go in and watch old TV.
No.
If it's that, no. If it's got new stuff that I can't get because I don't subscribe to that platform, that I'm looking for. Yeah, but if I have to watch old shows, which I liked all those shows except Love Boat that you got there, I don't think I would watch them again. I'm funny that way. It's
I
my
remember
ADHD.
as a young little boy, I stumbled upon a movie similar to Love Boat, but it was called Sex Boat.
That's
It's
called porno.
Very,
I'm just saying that's
very
called porn.
educational.
It's what it's supposed to be. Porn is supposed to be very educational.
Yes,
Yes.
it was.
And listen, what you learn from porn, if you're smart, is that that doesn't really happen.
It was bad. It was.
And don't look at women and go, all women, I'll just have to get her alone and she's going to suck my dick. No, it's not going to happen. And your mother-in-law or your stepmom and your stepsister, no, they don't want that either.
Did Matt pass out?
He's looking at his phone.
No, I'm trying to figure out if Costner actually is leaving. Because he hasn't said anything publicly yet about it.
But
no, he hasn't.
Everything's just rumor and speculation.
Are you talking about a razor? No, I need
Ozark
a beard trimmer.
So good.
Electric, cordless, with attachments.
Yeah,
That's
really
what I
good.
need.
Yeah, actually, Rick watched the Ozarks. That was really
I saw
good.
the first season of Ozark, and honestly, for some reason, it doesn't interest me to watch more.
It got better.
It's not that. I liked it. I thought it was good. I just, nope. That's ADHD right there, by the way. That's ADHD at work where I won't watch it.
I struggle with Jason Bateman.
No, I don't mind him. He doesn't bother me. I know Ozark is good. I know it's good, you guys. Hey, Rena, how you doing? Big trades, no. Don't look for big trades from Montreal, Rena. They're going to make some deals, but it's to get draft choices and prospects. It's not going to be like big blockbuster stuff. So I don't know how many they're going to make. I hope they make some, but I'm not looking at blockbusters, no. Longmire, Nicholas Longmire was good. I watched that, I think, 3 times all the way through. So I liked it. And I'm hoping they were supposed to make some movies, and it doesn't look like that's happening. So far, not one that I haven't seen yet. I appreciate all the, but I'm watching them all. But let's try to get, we got like 5 minutes. Find one I haven't seen yet. Anyway, I guess not. And I like to binge stuff. So. What do you got there?
Costner hasn't said anything yet. Paramount said something along the lines of they hope Kevin Costner's gonna stick around, but they didn't confirm or deny anything. And
it's
Wes Bentley, who plays Jamie.
Oh, Wes Bentley, yeah. I heard what I hate
Bentley
that guy.
Said in an interview that he's thinking about how where the character of Jamie's gonna go when John Dutton dies. So I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that. To something to that effect. Not exactly like when he dies, but he was talking about if that's. But I think you're right. It kind of sounded like he thought it was going to happen.
And it sounds like Jamie's going to be the one to do it, from what I read in what I just read in the interview.
Kind of has to. It's either he's going to get killed or he's going to kill somebody. I hate that guy as an actor. I don't like the guy. I don't like the guy playing that part.
Another show that you might like is not True Detective, The Sinner.
What?
The Sinner.
Yeah, with I know, I saw that.
I can't remember that guy's name. Kind of like him.
Pullman. Bill Pullman?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I saw it all 5 seasons. I think 4 or 4. I'm hoping they're making a 5th, but I saw that. I bet you there's not a lot that anyone's gonna recommend to me that I haven't seen. Not the Tudors. I didn't see the Tudors. Goon was a good movie. Goon was a good movie. Goon 2 also was good.
Dougie Glatt.
Yep. It was a good movie. And in the first Goon, is it the first one? His roommate, tell me that's not Jonathan Drouin.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, that's 1,000% Jonathan Drouin.
Oh, shit.
The Tudors, I don't think that's something I would watch.
Have you watched Wednesday yet?
Have I watched? No, it's not for me. It doesn't interest me. Bob, Sons of Anarchy was great. Loved it. Rena, I think Anderson could get traded, though. I'm not saying he will, but I think he could.
Oh, Born to be a Hab. I don't think Stallone is coming back to do the second season.
That's the problem. But that was Tulsa King. That was a
Yeah.
good series so far. It's
thoroughly
up in the
enjoyed
air
that.
whether he wants to do a second season.
He doesn't like it because
It's
it's
too-
not his style.
No, I don't think that's
But
what I
it
heard. I heard
suits
it's
him.
it's more work than he thought, and he's 75. I think
Yeah.
it's a lot more work than he wants to do. So I'm kind of hoping he comes back for a second season and he's in it a little less, but they do it because I like the gang around him too.
But I like him.
I know he's really good in it.
Yeah.
He's real, and I'm not the biggest Stallone fan,
Neither
but
am
he's
I.
really good in that. Yeah. Hey, Boozer, how you doing, man?
Adrian.
All right, I think we got to the end. We're at 2 hours. I'm not sure when we're doing another one, but it'll be up. We're going to talk about it soon. We're going to have another one of these, and this is only episode 3 of I don't know how many, but we're done for the night. I want to thank everybody for being here. I had a lot of fun. I know it was a bit. I probably overdid it a little bit, but I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too, and I hope you guys did too. And Matt, it was good to have you in here for this. And so we're gonna I'll let you know when the next one is coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure, probably in the next week or so, which is the same thing. A couple of weeks or a week or so. You guys want to say anything before we go?
Nothing. I just love doing the show. This
I want
is
to pin
great.
this.
Persuader.
I haven't seen the show, but I love Roger Moore. He's my favorite James Bond iteration. I just wanted to pin that and point that out. I love Roger Moore.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't think
I was
that's a
sad
show
when he
for me,
passed.
but I liked Roger Moore as James Bond.
He's-
All right.
My favorite.
Bad
Bond.
Blood. Bad Blood. I saw some of it. It's based on the mob here in Montreal, and a lot of the characters that are in there, my dad probably knows because he's got a history with that. No, he wasn't a mob.
Did your dad know Dino Bravo?
The wrestler. Talking about a wrestler,
Yeah.
Dino Bravo.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
He was in the mob up there.
Probably. He might have. I don't know. But
The mob killed him.
I don't know this for a fact because my dad never told me this for a fact, but I believe my dad ran a legal business for them to work their money through here in Montreal. So my dad, anyways.
And with that, we're
my
all going
bar
to witness
mitzvah-
protection program. It's been fun.
I had the head at my bar mitzvah. I had the head of the Italian mob. I had the head of not the head of the Irish mob, but a big shot in the Irish mob. And I might have had the head of the Irish mob there too. I don't know. And a couple of people like there's that movie out. There's a documentary about Montreal. The guy, Sidney Leifman, the guy that got killed in his car, he was executed. That was one of my dad's best friends growing up. So my dad's got a lot of connections there. He wasn't a mobster though. That I know for a fact, but he did stuff with them. Anyway, I don't know where we got into that. I'm leaving. Thanks for being here. We'll see you again soon for another post game. And just thanks for being here and taking part. Till then, stay safe. Peace out, you guys. Have a great rest of the night, although it's the next day already. Ciao. See you
It's
soon.
early still. It's only 9:00. Have a great one, everybody.
See you
Ciao.
guys.